Hey guys, welcome to MattOchoa Videography, and today we're going to be talking about different types of frame rates that you can use with your own DSLR cameras. The first type of frame rate that's most used within America and within United States and stuff is typically 24 frames per second. When using 24 frames per second, you're basically dealing with cinematic style type of films. Generally movies will be using these in their films for DVDs, Blu-rays, and what have you. 24 frames per second is typically what I'll be using. I'm shooting this in 24 frames per second right now. It's the most realistic feeling. It has the most motion blur because typically when you're shooting at 24 frames per second, your shutter speed on the camera should double it. And since it's 24, so you round up your shutter speed to 50. And this is what's called the 180-degree shutter angle. Basically what that is half of the reciprocal of the frame rate. So at a 180-degree shutter angle is gonna look at 1/48th of a second for your shutter. We don't have that on our cameras, so we round it up to 1/50th of a second. And that applies to most frames per second that you're gonna be shooting in. So if you're shooting at 30 frames per second, which most people do to give a more smooth motioned film, you're gonna wanna set your shutter at 1/60th of a second, which is the 180-degree shutter angle of 30 frames per second. A lot of people won't notice a difference between 24 and 30 frames per second. It's a preference style. If you want more realistic movement, I would go with 24. If you want smooth, nice motions, then go with 30 frames per second. And for other options, there's 60 frames per second, and at the shutter angle, you'd be shooting at 1/120th of a second, increasing the 60 frames per second by half, which is also referred to as a 180-degree shutter angle. So here are different examples of different frame rates and shutter angles. The first one's 24 frames per second with 1/50th of a second as the shutter angle. As you can see, the motion's nice and realistic. It's what the eye captures. That's the most realistic shot that you can get. So this clip is shot at 30 frames per second with the shutter speed of 1/60th of a second. This is giving it a nice motion and very smooth movements within the objects. One trick you can do with this frame rate, if you set your project frame rate at 24 frames per second and you slow down 30 frames per second to the project rate, it'll actually make a nice slow motion effect to it. This clip was shot at 60 frames per second at 720p with the shutter speed angle at 1/120th of a second. You can also slow this frame rate down to 24 frames per second or whatever you choose the project frame rate to be. As you do so, it'll create a nice slow motion effect, giving it great movement and just telling the story a little bit better. For my daily vlogs and other type of videos like these, I would like to shoot it in 24 frames per second, giving it a nice realistic movement to what I'm saying and to what you guys are seeing. So yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It would mean so much. Your support is greatly appreciated to this channel. If you're new and you haven't watched any other videos, I suggest you watch some videos that I'll be playing at the very end of this video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. The more subscribers, the better, because the more content I can release to you guys, because you guys will be requesting more things. So yeah, there you guys have it. This is a video just for basic frame rate and shutter speed, just to make your videos a little bit more interesting. Again, my preference is 24 frames per second when I'm shooting vlogs or these type of videos. And for weddings, I like to stick in the 30s and 60s just so I can be safe with the slow motion. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys liked it, please leave a comment. And if you guys want me to review something or do another video about a different tutorial or a different tip for you guys, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. I read all of them. I reply to basically all of them as well. If you have anything to say or if you have anything to include, go ahead and just leave it into the comments below. I have links in the description for my website if you need anything, and I have links to the gear that I use for every single one of my videos. So yeah, until the next video, I will see you guys later.